bonjour, and howdy to all of my fellow race fans and backseat drivers out there. Thank you for joining me on Backseat Broadcasting yet again. We're doing the GTEs here at Sebring, wrapping up our time. Just about 4 minutes make it left in our practice session before we do those 10 minutes of solo qualifying. Nice, fun night race here. Should have a real low track temp for us. Amazing lap times out there. Very difficult to see the apex. No point in even trying to look towards the end of the corner. Should be some tricky conditions out there. Difficult for us to see who's who. Hopefully the software will make up for it. This is Kevin San Diego. Fastest in practice. And welcome back to Porsche Club of Texas. As you can see, only one non-Porsche in the top 6. And Darian Roy, welcome back to the league. Let's get you in the right class. Nick Harwood also very handy in the swarm of bees. Doing a 155.818 out there. Nothing between these guys, pretty much. Looks like half a second covers the top 5 drivers. So just nothing between them. Should makes for some great racing. We also saw Joaquin very handy in the SR as well. RSR. And we have Tyler Pierre Richards not running the piggy paint. I don't know. It's dark out there. I can't see anything. We got a minute and a half left in practice. Mandatory pit stop somewhere around 20-25 minutes into the race. Through in the M8, here's Darian. And very interesting. The car manufacturers. Of course, a lot depends on the driver. And that'll just about do it, as we have a couple drivers off track there for our practice sessions. Going to go right into qualifying. Track temp staying the same. Surprisingly, not like it would make a massive difference for these guys. Richard Swindell's in his Corvette leaving the pits. Corey's Corvette always sounds like it's running so rich. Something off with the audio of Corvettes at times. Something always wrong with the sound of the Porsches. Oh, and Clifton Naranjo has a bit of an incident on his outlap. Jonathan Cooper coming around Sunset now. So it's a long ways from Sunset. Here he goes, starting his first hot lap. Tyler Pierre Richards gets moving again. He's on board with Kevin Sandiego, who's pretty handy in this thing. I've never seen this weird blue glow inside of the Porsche before. That's pretty neat. Down to the second set of cones. Turns in really well there. Gets tons of grip on the front. Very brave on the throttle around the left. His tires definitely have not come to him yet. There's a lot more to be desired. He's almost able to get all of the curb. First across the line is Nick Harwood out there with a 155.5 is the time to beat. Andy Cantu coming in second place. Jordan Lacey gets on the grid for third. Brian DeVries coming in fourth, followed by Justin Torres, and then Clifton Naranjo only good enough for sixth at the moment. Richard Swindells is followed by Jonathan Cooper, and then James Buntner and Corey Mitchell get in the mix for fourth and fifth respectively. Russell Abraham and Peter Ransom making up the back of the grid. Now we're watching Nick Harwood trying to turn the car into the hairpin. It did not behave with him. He's got pole position at the moment. Kevin Sandiego not on the grid at the moment, although we've seen him make some charges. Anyways, I'm not sure if he possibly has a penalty to start from the pits. Lincoln Russell coming across the line, good enough for a 158.037. That's going to put him in 17th position. Brian has a little off track coming on to the back straights. That's a real bummer for him, really pushing it out there. Doug Doucette takes that 17th position away. Troy Banks had an off track. Hopefully this lap is running a little bit smoother for him. Nick Harwood with only 2 green sectors out there, but it's good enough to better his time majorly. Andy able to do a 155.334. Oh, might have just tagged the wall on the inside there. He's going to ruin this lap. Jordan Lacey is still in 3rd. Clifton Naranjo moves himself up to 5th with that one. Russell Abraham into the top 10. Michael Harney up to 12th. James Butner jumping up to the 2nd row with a 155.8. Kevin Sandiego also able to set a lap time now. He's gotten up to 5th position. He'll have enough time to do one more. Everyone will. Nick Harwood, your pole leader at the moment, dips into the pits. He's going to call it quits, as I can't imagine he will be able to go any faster than that. That's pretty blistering out there. Really sandbagging during practice as well. James Butner, a non-Porsche, gets himself into the mix at the front. Corey Mitchell, I was about to say Corey Mitchell's the next non-Porsche, and then Tyler Pierre Richards gets himself up to 7th. Corey is down to 8th. Lincoln Russell putting a Ferrari above above Corey for a 156.7. Corey's down to 9th. Simply nothing between these guys. Doug Doucette hops himself up to 15th there. Michael Johnson only good enough for 20th on the grid at the moment. Michael Rice still to set a lap time. So is Joaquin. He might have a penalty, but I'm not exactly sure. Jordan Lacey jumps up to 3rd place and goes back to the pits. Brian DeVries hops up to 5th. Clifton Naranjo pushes himself up to 7th, but not that much there. Kevin Sandiego getting on to the 2nd row there. James Butner can't go any faster, neither can Corey. Michael Harney gets up to 15th and returns to the pits. And there's a minute 15 left. Michael Rice gets on the grid. Joaquin is the only driver who has not set a lap time, who has been out on track in qualifying. He's going to have just enough time to make that happen. Kevin Sandiego had stomped on the brakes. Not exactly sure. Still going. Tyler Pierre Richards comes to a halt. Corey Mitchell still putting some laps out there. You didn't see anybody try the abandoned lap pit entry practice. Joaquin up to the 4th row with that last lap at the last moment. Brian Zinn is 5 seconds across the line. He comes across it, and he moves himself up 1 position there to 19th, bumping down Robbie Campbell, and that is it for qualifying. Let's run down the grid quickly. Here we got Nick Harwood on pole position, followed by Andy Cantu. Jordan Lacey shares row 2 with Kevin Sandiego. Then we got James Butner, followed by Brian DeVries. Clifton Naranjo is going to line up next to Joaquin Jandrua. Tyler Pierre Richards and Lincoln Russell round out the top 10 drivers. Richard Swindell lines up next to Corey Mitchell. Darian Roy, Justin Torres, Troy Banks, Michael Harney, Russell Abraham, Doug Doucette, Brian Zinn, and Robbie Campbell is the top 20. Michael Johnson, Jonathan Cooper, Michael Rice, Peter Ransom, Jimmy Golahar, Russell Elizondo, and hopefully the rest of the drivers join us for the race. As always, during these enthralling moments in the race, I encourage you to hit that thumbs down button, unsubscribe from the channel, and hit the bell an even number of times. So we got Nick Harwood and Cantu on the front row. Ooh, let me see. Oh, and this is an incomplete list. I think Andy has more points than this, but I wasn't able to update. He has like additional 60 or something like that. Only throws him into the like top 3 or 4 drivers. So, not a big deal. But I could not update it. I think that is more or less the complete list for the top 2 races out there. First 2 races. So Cliff, Jordan, Kevin, Corey, and of course Andy on the front row here. I don't quite know how they're doing the points this season. I think everybody under like 20 odd positions gets 23 points, it was looking like, or something like that. I gotta update the points standings if that is the case. We will have it updated for all 3 classes, all 3 nights next week, as we get 3 full races in the books. And the guys rounding the penultimate corner onto the back straights. Just about ready to get cooking here. And difficult for the guys and gals in the back of the pack, as they're going to have to go 2 by 2 through sunset perhaps as we hit it now. And Nick Harwood getting on the gas, and we all start to spread out here behind him. It looks like everybody has made it through the first little, or at least the first turn. So there could always be some drama. We love that drama at the Porsche Club of Texas. And everybody finding their spots single file except for this little pack in the rear. Oh, and Michael Johnson trying to get in there as these guys go 2 by 2 in front of him. It's Robbie Campbell and Brian Zinn. Oh, goodness, no, it was perhaps Jonathan Cooper. I'm not exactly sure what happened back there. No, it was Brian Zinn and Robbie Campbell. That's Michael Johnson to the inside. Back up top, it's Nick Harwood, followed by the top 5 are As You Were. Joaquin is making up 2 positions thus far to get up to 6th here. And James Buntner with a crash there. And looks like Peter Ransom also taking a spill around that one. Joaquin getting another one here, and Brian DeVries to the outside. He's got to look out for, who's that? Cliff to the inside, but I think he's managed to stay out of his way. Andy Cantu with a spin, it looks like. He's down in 4th at the moment, promoting Jordan Lacey and Kevin Sandiego. Some fantastic racing happening already. These guys pretty much keeping their cools. Let's see what had happened to James Buntner coming into the final sector. And he just got too much curbing on the cold tires. Peter Ransom having a similar issue through this section. It's going to be, it looks like the same thing from him. And the cold tires whip around on him. Andy Cantu in 2nd place, coming around Sunset, having major issues. And the rear end getting away from him. He runs into the outside wall, and he's still running. Carlos Lopez Jr. is the next victim in the race. And not exactly sure who that was. It looks like Russell Elizondo get a little kicked there anyways. Going live with this race on lap 2 down the back straight. And Joaquin and Andy should have a nice little battle, if only for 4th. It will be a good one between these two. Kevin Sandiego holding on to Jordan Lacey here. They are starting to close a little bit on Nick for the lead of the race. Ooh, Tyler Pierre Richards losing out there. Oh, he's not having a good time. Something must have happened to him as Doug Doucette also slips on through. Brian Zinn, Troy Banks, and Michael Harney here. and Michael Johnson all entangled in a very, very dangerous duel. Doug Dissett ahead, getting a little wide out there. Might open the door back up for Tyler Pierre Richards. He's going to stick to the inside as to not give him the draft. And eventually cuts back to the racing line towards the end of the straight. Robbie Campbell riding the bumps well. Kevin Sandiego has now gotten ahead of Jordan Lacey here. Let's see how it happened through Sunset. Oh, and he really just sent it to the inside where there was just barely enough room. That was very difficult to hold it through there. I don't know if there was any contact through there. Let's ride with Kevin through that said turn. Yeah, he does give him a little push there, and he's going to get the flash as a result. Jordan Lacey still sitting behind Kevin as they come onto the back straights now. Jordan's going to have a turn, but Nick able to get 2 seconds into the lead. Something must have happened to Clifton Naranjo. He climbs his way back up to 7th, above Lincoln Russell there to the outside. Michael's side by side here. Oh, and Johnson tucks back in behind. And was not prepared for the breaking point of Mr. Harney. Kevin closing off the inside and just covering it off completely, allowing Nick to get, let's say, 3 seconds into the race now, into the lead. Race lead, whatever words. Joaquin closing on Andy Cantu still, and they're starting to get their way back up there. Only 1.3 to Jordan Lacey in 3rd. Robbie Campbell embroiled in the middle of this sandwich. And after that T1 boot, Michael limps his car around, but he might have more difficulty coming down to the hairpin. And it's just undrivable for him. He goes back to the pits. Tyler Pierre Richards is closing on Doug Dissett. He's getting him to the inside. Lincoln Russell with a spin here. I believe he was riding in 8th place. Oh, but just getting a little loose there and taking the different track around. It's pretty much the best thing you can do when you do outbrake yourself. Is stay on the roads. Nice little close pack here where everybody's pretty close together, but no one able to make any ground up. And a big lockup from Robbie Campbell ahead. He's going to let Russell Abraham in here to the inside. He just gets his nose in there, and Robbie only leaves him the smallest bit of room. He does not want to tussle, and he wants to stay with the pack ahead. Doug under threat of losing another one here to the right, with Michael Johnson saying, "I'm coming through, sir." And Troy Banks also flashing his lights back there. Michael Johnson to the inside. And Troy following him through, trying to get the move done. He should be patient, wait for the straights, but he's not. He's already completed the move. Doug Doucette now has to worry about Robbie Campbell. Douglas to the inside, trying to run back at Troy here. Troy is in the slipstream of Michael Johnson ahead though, which just aided him and kept him ahead. Back up top, Nick Harwood is just leading this race by 3.4 seconds. Kevin Sandiego up to second now. Jordan Lacey still sitting in third, pretty close. Andy Cantu has cut the gap down to 0.86. Brian DeVries losing that one to Clifton Arano to the hairpin. Corey Mitchell's up 4 positions. Justin Torres is up 5. Michael Johnson's up 6. Oh goodness, Robbie Campbell off track there. Andy Cantu also with an off track. It was into T1. He managed to hold on to it, not really lose any time. Kevin Sandiego still under major pressure, but not giving up anything. Corey catching up to Brian DeVries ahead. Oh goodness. Brian having major issues there. Must have missed his braking zone. Let Corey right on by. Second place. Kevin really covering off the inside there, making sure that's not a possibility, as Andy's going to get right back into this mix. Getting really wide there, Andy. No joke, you go off track at T1. Gotta hit that apex cone and the fence. Look for the cone. Can't really look for crap right now. And Doug is gonna stay above him for the moment. Jonathan Cooper also having a look down to the inside. Pulls out of it though. Oh, Doug to the off track of Big Bend there. Quite see what had happened. Looks like he just did it all on his own. I wonder if he hits the wall here. I don't even think he does, but I don't know. He just wasn't having a good time out there. Jordan Lacey challenging for second place. He's got it done here. Andy also sniffing for a piece of the pie, just out of the podium positions at the moment. Nick Harwood's got to be loving this on his relative, seeing how close these guys are together and knowing that they're going to waste a lot of time fighting. He just has to keep it on track for another 23 minutes. Jordan doing a good job of covering off the inside on that occasion. Michael Johnson edging past Brian Zinn. Oh, and was there somebody spun in the background, or am I seeing things? Troy Banks also trying to get to the inside here. It's not going to happen for him. Terry and Roy down the pit straight on Justin Torres. The door gets closed. Oh, but is he going to have a look? Excuse me for cutting away. Is he going to have a look? He is. And they're almost swapping sponsors. And, oh, both of them managed to hold onto it and hold down the throttle coming out of that slow section. Lincoln Russell is waiting to pick up the scraps. And that move, Justin Torres staying ahead. Well done. Good little battle there. Jordan Lacey. Oh, something happened to Kevin Sandiego that broke up this little pack here. Oh, he just outbraked himself into the hairpin. Or no, not the hairpin. One after the hairpin. Yeah, just a whole mess of cars in here. Tyler Pierre Richards getting past Richard Swindells there. We have our first people to the pits. It's Jordan Lacey, Cliff Naranjo, Lincoln Russell, Richard Swindells heads for the pits, so does Michael Johnson. .5 stationary for Jordan Lacey. He's back out on track. Pretty much identical from Cliff. Brian has already stopped for 11.9. just over halfway done. I'm surprised one of these guys doesn't come into the pits. Get out of such a tight race. Try to make it in the pit stops. And a couple of these guys might be taking tires as well. Michael Rice stationary for quite a while. Jimmy stops for 21 seconds. He's going to head back out. Nick Harwood, Andy Cantu, Kevin and Joaquin all coming into the pits. So maybe Kevin can do some damage back in the pits. Corey, Justin Torres, and Tyler Pierre Richards all in there. Eyes on Jordan Lacey here as he comes across the finish line, and you can see Nick Harwood is already into turns 2. Troy Banks, of course, is staying out. Jordan Lacey easily into second place. Andy Cantu now only 1.8 behind though. And Kevin Sandiego in the pits for 40 odd seconds. Maybe he's taking tires too. He didn't deselect it. Kevin's back out on track, filled up and possibly some new tires. He's going to be able to carve through the field a little bit. So Darian Roy and you guessed it, Troy Banks still out on the track. He's getting a nice little tow there from Nick Harwood and showing us that fuel conservation. He's definitely tucked to the inside here, coming into the pits with Darian Roy ahead of him. Harwood inherits the lead of the race again. Jordan Lacey and Andy Cantu in the podium positions. Joaquin, a good 7 seconds behind Andy. Corey Mitchell has made it up 6 positions. Nice short pit stop as well. Justin Torres is Tyler Pierre Richards just behind him now. Brian Zinn just cuts him off to the inside there. Troy sees him coming and lets him go. Ooh, everybody locking up on these old tires and managing to keep it on the black stuff out there. Kevin Sandiego now down in 18th position after that lengthy 53-second pit stop. So with the time remaining, you'd have to run about 5 seconds faster a lap with fresh boots everybody else. His best is 155. I think he was doing closer to 159s towards the end there. And Troy Banks with an off track loses that one to Kevin. Justin Torres still battling with Tyler Pierre Richards in the rear view. Oh goodness, that looks like Peter Ranson just sitting, waiting for a good moment to come back on track. There's never a good moment for him if he's got some damage to his car. So here we are into the final 10 minutes. Ooh, a little tag there from Darian Roy on Russell Abraham. Lincoln Russell finds the grassy part of the track. Just going a little bit too wide there, and it's so easy to turn that rear end around and hit that fence. He's staying just ahead of Russell Abraham and Darian Roy, having a feisty little battle as we just saw. Here's Darian taking to the inside and getting that move done. Final 10 minutes here. And our final race in Sebring. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh. Who on earth was that? Looks like James Buntner following these guys closely. Ooh, and Russell Abraham turning the car under braking. Kevin San Diego picking up another one. Harwood still sitting up top. Jordan Lacey in second. And Andy passing the lapped car of Michael Rice there. Oh, well, I don't exactly know what Keith's doing here. He's just having a little bit of fun with his tires. Ooh, and Brian Zinn locking up a little bit going through Sunset. Almost opened the door for Lincoln Russell behind. Looks like Russell Elizondo has had an incident. Oh my, I'm not exactly sure what has happened there. Just almost turned in way too soon for it, or tipped a wheel into the grass or something. Oh, and Brian has had a spill. Oh, very awkward too. But he manages to just keep pointing the right direction for the turn. And now Kevin Sandiego able to close on this little midfield pack. Somebody locks up ahead of him. Less than 5 minutes to go on the clock. Kevin trying to move here on Darian Roy to the inside very late on the brakes. Still seems to have a lot of tire left. Now he's going to hunt down Lincoln and Brian. Brian Zinn ahead. He's got Terry and Roy fighting back at him. And Kevin does not care how late the braking is going to be. He's going very determined to win that battle. Brian is into the pits. Maybe he did not get enough fuel. And he just stops for 4.2. Oh no, it looks like we missed a Troy Banks crash a little bit ago. It sees him drop 3 spots down to 18th. Oh, bummer. And he knew it was coming and tried to take all the speed out of it. One minute on the race clock. Coming around for the penultimate time now. Here's Nick Harwood, just has to give us one more clean lap out there. He's led the entire thing pretty easy for him since Andy left him alone. He's climbed back to 3rd place though. Looks like Kevin Sandiego has cleared. Brian's in there, now hunting down Michael Johnson ahead for a top 10 position. Michael Johnson making up 11 positions thus far tonight. Andy here with an off track, trying to push it out of the final corner. And Nick Harwood taking the win there, followed by Jordan Lacey. Andy is going to retain that spot despite that spin. Back with the guys who are fighting at the moment. Richard Swindell is under pressure from Michael Johnson. Kevin Sandiego catching up to these guys. Brian Zinn still holding off Lincoln Russell and Darian Roy. Oh, and Kevin is not getting the exit he needs. How unfortunate, as Brian and Lincoln Russell also with a crash with Darian Roy also off track there. It almost looks like he's just waiting for Lincoln to get back ahead of him. And let's see what had happened. As, yeah, it looked like Darian Roy a little bit to the inside there going for the move. Lincoln Russell falling all the way down. To 13th and 14th here respectively. Big bummer for them. Congratulations to our podium sitters. What a race out there. Good stuff. And let's run down the race results real quick. Now that I believe everyone is across a finish line, that's Nick Harwood taking the win out there. Jordan Lacey coming in second place. Andy Cantu coming in third. Joaquin Janjua coming in fourth, followed by Clifton Naranjo. Then we got Corey Mitchell, Justin Torres, Tyler Piro, Richard Swindell, Michael Johnson just holding on to the top 10 positions. Brian Zinn finished above. Kevin Sandiego, Russell Abraham, Brian DeVries, Jonathan Cooper, Troy Banks, Lincoln Russell, and Darian Roy down there. Carlos Lopez Jr., followed by Jimmy Golahar, Russell Elizondo, Michael Rice, James Buntner, Peter Ransom, Robbie Campbell, Doug Doucette, Michael Harney, and Paul Slavonic did not finish the race with us. Looks like we have Lincoln and Darian down in 17th and 18th. I wonder if they were given some sort of time penalty, maybe right at the death. They were given the black flags out there. Let's try to update our point standings. Of course, Andy is not going to be accurate. They're never accurate. What are we saying? Look at our updated points out there. We got Jordan Lacey out front at the moment after that second place finish. Clifton Naranjo losing that top spot, but only just barely having a good race himself. Corey Mitchell getting into the top 3. I think with Andy's additional points, that will definitely put him in the mix up top. Joaquin jumps up to 9th with that, because he's only raced in 2 of the races. Fantastic stuff out there. We will see you next week on Sunday with the Miatas. As always, hit the thumbs down button. Never subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell an even number of times. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good weekend.